Our lead story of the day is regarding the Washington Post accusing bigoted right-wing extremists, again, their words, not mine, of inciting anti-democracy boycott on Target. Wait till we jump into all the nonsense. Before we get into it, though, support a true American patriot by hitting that like and subscribe button. Leave us a short, sweet comment down below. And if you haven't already, check out baldbrad.com for all our merchandise, as well as our book, Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. You're seeing it in real time, folks. Again, our first segment here is regarding the Washington Post receiving pushback for publishing an article painting conservatives who support the Target boycott as extremists and opponents of democracy. You see this time and time again, especially from the Biden administration, where if anyone goes against the narrative of the progressive left as well as the Democrat Party, you're now an extremist. The MAGA supporters are a threat to democracy, according to Joe Biden and the Democrat Party. So that's kind of the narrative that's being pushed right now. The Washington Post published an article titled, "Target Gets Cut in Cultural Crossfire Over Pride Month Items." Notice that they leave out that those Pride Month items are targeting children. That's always left out of the conversation, even though it's interjected within the conversation within itself. The article about supposed right-wing extremism stemming from a retail boycott begins with the account of a female customer allegedly upset because Target was, quote, carrying Pride Month merchandise. Now, they've been doing this for quite some time, so it's nothing new. I think it's just kind of catching on to the American public that they have been doing this, and more importantly, been targeting children regarding all this. Before, it was just primarily going after adults, and hey, you know, whatever, you're an adult, do whatever you want. But the second you start going after people's kids and targeting their kids with this type of advertising and this indoctrination that's happening in the school system and everywhere else, you know, people are going to be pissed off about it, and that's exactly what's happening here. The woman reportedly used her own scissors to cut her Target credit card in front of the guest services at a Target location in South Florida and informed employees, quote, "I'm never shopping here again." I think that's a little bit dramatic and theatrical. I myself wouldn't do something like that. I think, again, it's a little bit over the top, but people are fed up with it. And I think people should cut up their credit cards regardless. Credit cards are not a good thing. If you don't have money to pay for something, then you probably shouldn't buy it other than a house. Look, I get that idea, but it's not a shocker that you're going to need to purchase some sort of consumer product or service in the future, like a car. You know you're going to need a car. You should just save up for one. Easier said than done. That's for another video. Well, the manager of the store told the outlet that there were several tense encounters that workers have reported over LGBTQ plus items. Ticked off customers allegedly accused Target of shoving your woke agenda down our throats, and employees were reportedly called child groomers. I don't think it's fair to go after the employees. They just work there. We all probably worked at retail or some sort of fast food chain, and we're just there to conduct the business and get a paycheck at the end of the day. I worked at Staples in college, absolutely phenomenal corporation to work with, but whatever ideology or whatever stance they support, could that dictate whether I would be employed by them? Sure. But at the end of the day, you're probably just a teenager, somebody just trying to pay your college bills or pay your rent while you're working there. It shouldn't be a career job. I know it's kind of turned into one, but at the end of the day, I don't think we should be going after the people that work for these corporations. Look, they're just kind of hourly workers that are just trying to make a buck to pay whatever bills they have. So let's not target them, folks, okay? A little bit too much. The article touched upon bomb threats. This is really going way too far. The article touched upon bomb threats that targeted several Target stores in multiple states. These people are insane. This is the problem with labeling extremists, because there are some people that are actually extreme. So there is some truth to that, but just to make the claim that it's coming from right-wing people, I think is a little bit much, because you have no evidence to support that these are just right-wing extremists. They could also be on the other end of the spectrum. They could be Democrat side of the aisle as well, because Democrats aren't for people transing their kids either. However, local news reports said the bomb threats were made by an individual who claimed to be angry that Target was cowardly for turning their back on the LGBTQ community. Did you hear that correctly, folks? Did you hear that correctly? Local news reports said the bomb threats were made by an individual, listen carefully, who claimed to be angry that Target was cowardly for turning their backs on the LGBTQ community and decided, quote, to cater to homophobic right-wing redneck bigots who protested and vandalized their store. So this bomb threat came from somebody of what side of the aisle? Oh, it went to the leftist side of the aisle. The leftist side of the aisle, you gotta love it. But right-wing extremists, folks, threat to democracy. I don't think it's good to incite any type of violence or any sort of bomb threat. I don't think that's a good thing. It's a very, very bad thing. The article written by a retail reporter, I didn't even know there was such a thing, and a business reporter noted that Target decided to pull some items because of the backlash. Queer and transgender designers blamed domestic terrorists. So now we're terrorists, folks. If you don't want your kid to be trans, if you don't want your kid to be groomed by these corporations and activist teachers in the classroom and these Disney woke fanatics, now you're a domestic terrorist. Welcome. You should be on the terror watch list, I guess. So you're now a domestic terrorist for Target, for basically backlash against Target and going after their products that are on the shelves, which again, we don't want our freaking kids to be trans. Furthermore, the article pointed that Target boycott with a broad brush that conservatives were upset with the national retail chain for selling LGBTQ merchandise. That's not true. It wasn't about a broad brush. It's all about, if you talk to most conservatives and Republicans, most people are like, if you want to push this pride stuff, whatever, and if it's pushed upon adults, hey, adults can make whatever decisions they want. But the idea that your products are geared towards children as well, and not just children, but like infants too, it's a little much and it's a little bit ridiculous. But these people on the other side of the aisle don't understand this aspect of what's going on. And wait till our last segment of the day where we have a clip of people debating the trans LGBTQ issue on Piers Morgan's Uncensored, because that one is head spinning. That's for our last segment. You have to hang a little bit tight till we get there. Well, again, they have tuck-friendly bathing suits, LGBTQ onesies for babies, and products from a transgender designer promoting Satanism, violence, and drug use. There was also a quote from the designer himself or herself. I don't know anymore. We're just trying not to get pulled here off YouTube. Basically saying that Satan was a loving and compassionate being. That's insane, because Satan is literally a destroyer and a destructive and evil being within itself. But this is the stuff they're doing, spinning, manipulating, all these crazy nutso things. Well, folks, I got to know what you think about it, because the article here cited experts on extremism to point the finger at right-wing influencers for inciting an anti-democracy movement. Do you think that you having the right to not purchase products and services from a corporation or whatever entity it may be, that because of the ideology that they're pushing, that if you don't support them, now you're an extremist? It just isn't that viewpoint alone extreme? Because if somebody doesn't want to purchase your product or service, doesn't mean they're extreme at all. Maybe they're just like, hey, you know what? Maybe I don't like their product. 2, I don't support whatever you're trying to push. And 3, I'll just go purchase it somewhere else. We saw this with Anheuser-Busch, or in other words, the Bud Light issue with Dylan Mulvaney. A lot of people, Bud Light's gone like 25% down. I forget what Target's at. Target was at like 14% last week. I think it's down like 15 or something. They just keep going downhill. But what do you think? Do you think Target is in the right here? Do you think these reporters are in the right for calling you an extremist? And also, does anybody here on the Bald Brad Show support Target? No hate here. If you still shop at Target, hey, whatever. But just curious here on a litany of questions. We'd love to hear from you. You commenting does yeoman's work in supporting the show and actually forces the algorithm to push our video out there to new viewers who haven't seen our content or our channel. So your help and support would be greatly appreciated. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.